Hello! Today we're talking about Grappa. Uh, Grappa, a very special member of the already extremely special nerdy category of Thomas brandy. You see, Grappa uh, has some production details that kind of sets it apart from, well, the rest of Thomas brandy, but also kind of the rest of spirits in general. So you're starting with grape Thomas, right? You can't see my gesture, sorry. Big box in the way. You have to start from pomace, but unlike with every other category, you can't just throw it in some water and kind of stew it up and then put that slurry in your still. Legally, grappa has to be dry fermented. The pomace has to be basically dried before it is distilled, and that makes it extremely tricky to do without basically burning the hell out of your grape leftovers. You can steam distill it. You can do it in a kind of double boiler bain-marie kind of setup. What you can do in any case is just set up a simple little direct fired still in your backyard, and that means a lot of grappa production. There's not a lot of sort of, well, backyard grappa production. A lot of it is done at big facilities. And that's kind of been my problem, my sticking point with grappa, is that a lot of what you find, especially in the U.S., is from these big industrial facilities that are steam distilling. They're making some pretty rough stuff, and a lot of the time they're adding, sugar and colorant or something to kind of make up for it. What changed my thinking was finding this. This is the Marolo Nivis 13-year-old. This was on my list of picks for the best of last year. Marolo is an artisanal producer. They use the bain-marie method. They're a very large one. They're probably one of the largest artisanal producers of grappa, but they're still doing it the old-fashioned way. So after how awesome this one was, I decided to seek out some of the Marolos that were actually available in the U.S. The packaging is interesting on these. Here is a box for the Moscato one. You will notice it is... Get it open. Try not to knock anything off here. The box is coming apart. So that happened. Okay, let's get pouring these. And then there's the set. This set of 4 200 milliliter bottles that I bought. This is floating around. This is around the country. It came out a couple of years ago, but it's still around. And let's just talk about this box. You will notice this kind of bubble wrap stuff. I did not add this. This was here when I bought it. And I just love how, it's like they designed this beautiful display box with red stuff. And then when they all set it up there, they realized that, oh no, the bottles are going to rattle around. So we have to put in some ugly ass, bubble wrap to keep them from smashing and breaking. It gives me a laugh. It makes me happy. All right, so this is a set of Barolo grappas. Extremely interesting because most of these were bottled in 2014. Except for this one. The 9-year-old was actually bottled in 2006. So this is, with the exception of the 20-year-old here, this is actually the oldest bottle on the table. So I'm sure there's a fun story behind that. Like, they just made a whole bunch of these and were like, how do we get rid of them? I know, let's just make a whole tasting set. Sorry, enough of my yapping. I'm going to pour these, and we shall do some tasting notes and reviewing and stuff. I am really starting to appreciate, Italian spirits in general, but particularly grappa, because the grapes just tend to be a little bit more, aromatic than we get in, say, France. Well, anyways, this is just me babbling. We let's get some tasting notes on the table. All right, so this is the Grappa Marolo Moscato from their distillery, the Santa Teresa Distillery in Alba. This is bottled at 42%. It is lot number 191051, which is to say it was actually bottled in 2019. I sort of decoded the lot numbers on this. So this is 2019, so fairly recent. Moscato is a grape that I adore. It kind of gets a bad reputation in wine circles. I think because of sexism and ageism and racism. But I love it. I wish people would take it more seriously. And it tends to be very, very grapey and aromatic. So let's see if that holds over to the distilled version. Yeah. Yeah, hugely aromatic. Flowers, perfumes, hand lotion. Grapes, yeah, just really aromatic grapes. More hand lotion. Herbal tea. There's a stemminess to this, which is pretty normal in Pomace Perenni, like dried stems. Pine needles. Little hint of minerality, like one rock in this. Some tangerine. A little bit of lime zest, maybe. It's lovely. It's not hugely layered and complex, but it's really, really nice on the nose. See if adding water does anything to this, at least in the nose. All right, but let's try it on the palate. Here we go. This grappa has had sugar added to it. It's got sugar in it. And that's really, really, really annoying and disappointing. I mean, the first time I tried this, I thought maybe I was, tricking myself somehow. So I actually boiled down half an ounce and to see what happened. And yeah, there was sugar left over in the residue. Little tequila trick there. I guess I understand. Like they probably got an audience among, the old men who just want to have their grappa with coffee and not have to worry about it being too dry or having to cocktail it up or something. But man, I haven't even gotten to the tasting notes, but it's kind of muting a lot of what's going on. It's really hard to sort it out with the sugar in the way. It really throws off the palate. All right. Let me try this again. Hold on. Oof. Try to get through that. Perfume. Lots of. It's very floral again. Hand soap again. Hand lotion. Actually, pisco. There's a kind of aromatico style pisco going on here. Not really a direct kind of grapiness. It's more, yeah, the pisco thing. White pepper, that stemminess again, a little like nettle tea thing. Oh. But yeah, it's like every time I try this, it's a little bit shocking because I'm enjoying what's going on, and then the syrupiness hits on the back end. Yeah. So I don't know if the Marolo folks are watching, but I don't think this is going to fly with sort of the new generation of international spirits nerds. Like, this is just not what they're looking for. It's 42%. Yeah, we could overlook that, but the addition of sugar, it just feels like it cheapens the product. It really does. All right, I'm going to add some water, come back to it. 3. All right, moving on, though, to the Barolo Grappas. starting with, oh, swirling the wrong glass there. This first one is I'll hold it up for you. This is a 9-year-old. And again, this was actually distilled in 1997 and then bottled in 2006 as part of this set. It is bottled at 50% alcohol, which is much better than 42. Let's see what we got. Oh, here we go. Okay. Barolo is, of course, made from the Nebbiolo grape, which is kind of like, imagine Pinot Noir with a whole bunch of tannins stuffed into it. It's not, it's not, because it's a red wine grape and you get to do the maceration, you don't get the same kind of crazy aromatics you do with white wine grapes, especially not Moscato, which is always just crazy on the aromatics. But it is a really, really nice nose. It's quite nutty. You know what this smells like? It really presents initially as kind of a Highland malt. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, there's a kind of a nuttiness, quince, some kind of exotic woods, balsa woods, South American woods. Touch of vanilla. But then you got those sort of classic, pomace notes, the stemminess. Tobacco, oriental tobacco. Mixed tea leaves, camphor, bergamot. A little bit of a floral thing. Maybe a couple dried flowers and a little bit of a key lime thing, like a husk, like a key lime husk. It's nice. It's very fresh. And yeah, you hand it to a Scotch person, they might initially think like they're getting a Bal Blair or something. Really. On the palate, here we go. Yeah, there we go. Bam. Righteous. It's very bitter, and it works. Oh god, it absolutely works. That's really good. In terms of notes, mostly follows the nose. Oriental tobaccos, Virginia tobaccos, tea leaves, quince, key lime, bergamot, so this kind of aromatic citrus things. I'm going to have some more of this. But still pomace brandy, stems. That kind of aromatic woody thing I was getting, the balsa, like the kind of wood you would age cachaça in. You know what I'm talking about? And yeah, there's just this terrific, bitter, herbaceous finish on the back end, like black pepper, tea tannins, tobacco. There's some basil in there. A little bit of flowers happening. This is really good. I don't know what the pricing on this is, but if it's not expensive, I'm just going to say right now, this is worth buying. Quite good. Oh, wait, I have to add some water before we move on. Got all my things scattered here. All right, let's get a squirt. I'm going to do 2 squirts. And we'll come back. All right, moving on to the second bottle in the set, third bottle of the video. This is the 12-year-old Marolo Grappa of Barolo. This one was distilled 2007, bottled 2014. There's a lot. I'm going to put the lot numbers down in the notes. You don't need me yammering them off. On the nose, it's similar initially. You can see the family resemblance, but I'm getting more wood and more kind of herbs. Thyme, parsley, but then I'm getting, again, we're getting the orientals, so the tobaccos, tea leaves, stones, incense, actually. There's some incense in there. Cardamom, vanilla, nuttiness, kind of almonds, bergamot again, dried flowers. Quince is still there, but it's kind of withdrawn into the background. It's kind of exotic woods notes. But it's really the additional herbaceousness that's getting me on this. On the palate. Ooh. Yeah, terrific. Again, more woody than the previous one. More tannins on the back end. Even though this one had a really, punchy finish, this one is even more so. More cinnamon, cardamom, pepper. The bergamot thing is there. Tobacco. Tobacco and tea leaves. They're back, as are the flowers and the stems and the rocks. The wood is really stepping forward now. There's a lot of pepperiness happening, coming from the woods. Some nice tea tannins. Really good, and that finish, that snappy finish from the 9-year-old is still there, and even it loses a little bit of freshness. The basil is not as prominent. It's more on the pepper and the tannins. But yeah, that's a great finish. Okay, that's two. I'd be very happy to own. 2 squirts, and let us move on to the 15-year-old. Adjusting my notes a little bit. All right, Grappa Marolo, 15-year-old. This one was distilled 1999, bottled 2014, and also at 50% alcohol by volume. Okay, so I'm expecting even more wood on this. Okay, yeah, definitely, again, family resemblance, but what I'm really getting on this is like allspice. Lots of kind of spiciness, like island cuisine, really. Stems, rocks, orientals, and other tobaccos. Tea leaves, but all that's kind of stepped back a little bit in favor of the wood. That kind of cinnamon, cardamom, nutmeggy, all-spicy thing. I mean, between this and the 9, you could, smelling this aside the 9-year-old is really fun because you can just see the difference it makes when the wood steps forward. Yeah, again, still a little bit of bergamot peel, flowers, black pepper. Yeah, take the best teas and tobaccos you can think of, stew them up, and then just pour allspice all over them. That's kind of what this smells like. Nice. Okay, on the palate. Ooh. Okay, so in some ways we're following the trend. Oh man, hold on, I have to try that again. So yeah, you are getting more woodiness, but then out of nowhere, on the palate, there's this burst of orange sour. This is bringing a very present sour element that I'm completely enjoying. This is great. So yeah, you're getting lots of the same kinds of notes: teas, tobaccos, pepper, cardamom, cinnamon, all that for days. Flowers, lime zest, bergamot. But then black pepper. But then Uh-huh. Like orange, sour orange, and mud. Like they just come right out. Oh, that's great. Um, you'd never mistake this for malt whiskey, but I have to say, I think malt fans would love this. That is that is. I'm really enjoying all of these, and I'm going to have to make a final call with after the water, but that might be my favorite so far. Um, I know it's the most expensive and oldest so far too, which is you know a little bit annoying, but there it is. All right, and here last up, it is the Grappa Marolo 20-year-old. There we go. Also bottled at 50%. This is 1994 distilled and then bottled in 2014. All right, here we go. There is such a world of difference between this and the 9-year-old. Very different. Black pepper, mud, and then like quince, lime, bergamot, like all that kind of stewed up. It's really the mud note is what's surprising me here. It's not greenness, it's not vegetal, it just smells like mud, but like really the nicest mud ever made. Tobaccos are there, Orientals. Perique is showing up, which always makes me happy. All the teas, incense, more exotic wood, kind of a spice cake thing happening. Tea, but kind of like a herbal tea with some dried fruit in it. Rhubarb. Yeah, great nose. Really nice nose. On the palate, here we go. Ooh. So we're starting to get into old Pomace brandy territory here, makes me very happy. That being said, I don't necessarily think I like this more than the previous 3 glasses. It's just different. It's very woody, but at the same time, it's very green. Yeah, to my surprise, this is actually the most stemmy of the bunch. This brings the most stems, so it's mud and stems that kind of make this most distinctive. And then it's just like, very wood driven. So lots of overstewed tea, black pepper, a little bit of basil. Very woody, but otherwise very kind of mellow Pomace brandy. Tobacco tea, orange, mud, lime. There's some jerk sauce, cinnamon, cardamom, basil. One more sip. You're really good. For me, I don't know. I might take the 15 over this. That kind of like way it develops and kind of the orange just bursts in on the palate is kind of stealing my heart away a little bit. But all of these are really good, including 20. All right, squirt of water for this. Actually 2. And we'll go through these again. All right, back to the sugar added Moscato. Let's hope this is improved a little bit, but my hopes are not high. Like, you can't get the sugar out once it's in there. On the nose, it becomes more directly like floral, actually. Less perfumey, less kind of potpourri. It more smells like I'm just smelling flowers now. Flowers and pine needles, really. It's nice. I mean, there's no doubting the quality of the distillate here. They're doing it right at Marolo. What's annoying me is the sugar. I'm sorry, that's just it. That's all I'm complaining about. All right, on the palate, here we go. Ah, no. That's not what I wanted to have. The sugar actually comes forward more with water. So yeah, I highly advise you drink this neat. Actually, just don't buy this until they put out a version without sugar. Footnote: I know that it's become fashionable in the spirits community to use the word dosed when we talk about sugar. I've done this in the past. But I recently kind of realized that no one actually making brandy or rum ever uses that term. It's a term you find in champagne, and certain forces who might own cognac and also maybe a distillery in the Caribbean somewhere will use that as a marketing term to kind of, because it sounds better than we added sugar to this. But you should really just say they added sugar to this. Don't say dosed. I'm sorry. Footnote over. Let's get back to this. Still okay. It's kind of nice and bitter in the finish, aside from the syrupiness. Not any real development. The sugar is just cramping this so hard. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed. They don't need to do this. They're too good for this. I'm gonna score this 79 points, and it makes me really sad because now, like, I feel like you, dear viewer watching this, feel like you can't necessarily trust these folks, because how do you know if I mean, you know, with these four, right, and with the Nivis, but how do you know if you see a random bottle of Marolo on your shelf that ain't got sugar in it? You don't, and that means you're way way less likely to buy it, and I can't do anything about that. Sorry. Yeah, 79 points. Let's move on. 9-year-old Barolo Grappa. Here we go. Now with some water. Ooh, the pepperiness comes forward. Wow, go with the memory of the 20 fresh on my head. This is, yeah, I love the freshness on this. It's peppery, it's aromatic, it's light, it's floral. I love them both. I really love both. They're just different. On the palate, spicier. There's a curry thing coming out. Other than that, no real development on the palate. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. I mean, this is just, it's really good, and it's what I like to call sometimes a very classical sort of spirit, by which I mean it arrives, very fruity and even, perceptibly sweet, with no sugar, but perceived as sweet on the front end. Goes through some fun developmental things, gets spicy, it gets sour. This is not getting sour, but it gets floral. And then the back end, it has this nice bitter snap to it. Like, there's just so many spirits in the world that run on some kind of variation on that. And this is doing it brilliantly. I really feel like you could hand this to Scotch nerds, maybe not bourbon nerds, but rye nerds, rum nerds, and they would appreciate what is going on in this. I'm going to give this 87 points out of 100. 87 for the 90-year-old. Really nice. All right, moving on to the Grappa Marolo 12-year-old. Now with water. The quince comes forward, actually, on this. Something else, too. There's like a fun... What is that? It's okay. It's the exotic wood thing, but it's almost become musty. So you kept your exotic woods in a leaky basement for like a year, and you came back and smelled them. That's kind of what it smells like. Like they're started getting a little funky funk. So quince, some tar, actually, golden raisin, and dank exotic wood. Nice. On the palate, here we go. Again, it gets more peppery and spicy. Ooh, a lot more peppery spicy. The black pepper really, really turns up a notch or two. Hints of orange peel, a little bit of that oranginess that I get in the next two. Not nearly as much. Try the 9 again. The 12-year-old has more wood, has more pepper, a little bit more grip on the finish. I don't think I necessarily like it better. It's a fun variation. I mean, in some ways, this reminds me of the Terriquet range in Baz Armagnac, in that you have all these age variations, and they're all really good. I couldn't necessarily pick them apart. This is also an 87-point Grappa. 87 points for the Marolo 12-year-old Barolo Grappa. Let's move on to the 15. This might have been a nose above the other, or above. A nose in front of the others during the first run through, but it is the water that shall tell the tale. On the nose. Yeah, I just love the kind of spicy orange and jerk sauce kind of aggression that comes out. It's a little bit more earthy. It isn't bringing as much mud as the 20, but it's that those kinds of muddy notes are starting to hint to kind of peek through here. Earthy, a little bit cherry as well. Nice. Okay, on the palate. Really good. I think that might top the previous two, not by much, a little bit. The raisins come out is what's kind of, but they're like weird, funky, slightly musty raisins, but nice. Yeah, the orange is still there and just kicking hard. The raisins, the allspice, the kind of jerk sauce thing. It's also got a little bit more weight beyond the kind of additional wood and the pepper. It's got a little bit more weight in the mouth for me than the previous two. I'm going to score this a hair bit higher. This is an 88-point Grappa. Let me try the 12 again. Oh, these are all so good. I'm going to call this an 88-point Grappa, but honestly, I could see different tastes picking different ones. Like, these are all just very, very high quality. And one needs, with the exception of this one needs to make no apologies to any serious spirits drinker for the quality here. These speak for themselves. All right, let's try the 20-year-old one more time. On the nose. A ton of development. It's more that the kind of notes have congealed. The muddiness and the fruity notes have kind of turned into, Actually, this is almost turned into a like an old school 90s Macallan kind of nose. Dried fruit, mud, Turkish coffee, that kind of cardamom-y thing. Yeah, that's righteous. It may have gotten even a hair bit simpler with the addition of water. They may have lost a little bit of detail, but it's still killer. On the palate, here we go. Despite the fact that I can tell there's more wood. And, sorry. And I can tell. This is actually the mellowest of the four for me. I do think it's delicious. It's refined. I adore it. It's very green and earthy and woody and just really nice. But I think I prefer the 15 still. I'm going to give this the same score as the first two. I'm going to give this 87 out of 100. Great lineup. Really good lineup. All right, so to review, 79 points for the Moscato Grappa from Marolo. Like, I hold off on this until they just take the damn sugar out. Sorry, I gotta say it how it is. For the Barolo 9-year-old, 87 points. 87 points likewise for the 12-year-old Barolo. 88 points for the 15. This is my favorite of the bunch. There's an oranginess there which is just really seducing me. And 87 points again for the 20-year-old. These are all fantastic. If you can get them at a decent price, or this whole tasting set. This is actually, like, in and of itself, there's value here just trying these things side by side. I mean, just nosing the 9 and 20 are, it's a lot of fun. So, highly recommended. Thank you for watching, and cheers.